Don't enter into life's arena unarmed. Let Parker show you how to make fear work for you. Even enjoy fear. What money says when it talks. The heartbeat of time. The vital importance of momentum. How to be the person you always wanted to be. And keeping your dreams alive. For 2 decades, Parker has traveled hundreds of thousands of miles as he built his career in a manner that brings forth a wealth of information. Town to town, prospect to prospect, audience to audience. There is no man like this anywhere.
Good afternoon, everybody. I always like coming to a dealership when I see they have a coffee pot out there for the customer. Plenty of coffee. Need coffee, don't you?
Absolutely.
I'm in a good mood this afternoon, so let me warn you all, I'm in a very good mood, and I got a lot of rest last night, and this is the first time in a long time I've had an afternoon meeting. Normally I do them, well, in a long time, probably in about 3 weeks. But I normally do very early morning meetings, which in my business, you have to get up and get ready. I guess it applies to everybody's business, doesn't it? Get up and get ready. And at my age, which let me get a shock out to all of you right now to begin with. This past Christmas, I turned 50 years of age, but in lieu of time, and we want to maximize our time this afternoon, you all are stunned to hear me say that because you all do know that I look much younger than that, don't I? Yeah. Lie to me. I need to hear that. I mean, it's very important that I hear that. Also, I just celebrated my 28th year being in the retail automobile business and put 3 years of being in the service department on top of that, so I've got 31 years of being in the automobile business. Again, I know that you're shocked to see that I look this good after being in this business this long. It's nice to start off laughing. It's especially nice to start off laughing today because we started a meeting yesterday and it was not a lot of fun. It was not really a lot of fun. I can always tell. It's kind of interesting. And I know this from much experience. As a matter of fact, the things that I'm going to share with you today come from the experiences of my life. So I'm going to come to you out of my life, not out of a book. So what I'm going to share with you today is not going to be any theory. It's going to be practical applications in my life, people that I've met, things that I've done right and wrong. A lot of things that I used to hear, I think I say to a lot of people now, I say the older I get, the smarter my father gets. I got on a pair of my father's cufflinks today, Bob. Those were my dad's. Probably when he was wearing those, I wasn't listening to him. Probably like my son's doing with me right now. I have a son that was when he was born, I wanted him to be the president of the United States of America. And now all I want to do is get that boy through high school. I mean, you know, went from president to doctor to pilot to college to junior college to community college to high school. That's where we are now. 1 more year. That's what my wife and I said today. But it is great to be able to laugh. And when I went into a meeting yesterday, it wasn't fun. It kind of reminded me yesterday, and I've done a lot of these things, and I hope you'll find out after being with me for a while that I enjoy what I do. But you can always tell a lot about a person. I used to think this when I was told this a lot. When I first started in the sales business, we were told a lot about attitude. Oh, boy. But is it really, really true? As a matter of fact, I was told this statement when I started, Bob. You'll like this statement. I don't think I listened a lot. Some of the people in the room are new. I did when I first heard it. But sometimes the real dangerous thing for people that are new in the room, and you're new, and we talked about this, one scary thing about being new is sometimes we get so good at selling that we can't sell anymore. It kind of fits into this statement right here. And I wrote this statement, and I like it. And every time I make this statement, and I sure like having some of the guys in the room, as I said earlier, with gray hair, the mature guys in here, saying, I don't want to be alone anymore. There's comfort having some of the mature guys in here. I wrote this statement, and every time I say this to myself. And by the way, even before I say this statement, is I enjoy having people from service. How many of you people are in here from the service department? It's great to have you in here. And that my brother was a service manager for 17 years. That's where you can tell he is a very strange person, can't you, by looking at it? Yeah, see, you can tell. Service manager, 17 years. It's written all over him. Peculiar guy. I always found one thing interesting that people from service come in, a lot of the people from service come in and they will bring something to take notes on. And I always like that. I can tell they've got that mind and they want to learn, a learning mind. See, today, the toughest challenge I have in this room is to open a closed mind. If you closed your mind before you came in here today, boy, and if you keep it closed through the whole time, you're not going to get anything out of this. I'm very well aware of that. You're not. You're going to be like a lot of the people started off yesterday. I was saying that when I started in the business, I was told the importance of an attitude. I was also told by my sales manager, Earl J. Cook, that enthusiasm is one tool with which a customer has no defense. And now you might think that I'm saying that because I know that sometimes when I listen to people talk, I heard a lady say something on a movie a couple weeks ago. She said to a person that was making all these statements over and again, enthusiasm is one tool that your customer has no defense against like mine. She said to him, quit talking in bumper stickers. And I like that statement. I didn't make that statement that I just made to be a bumper sticker statement. I made it because I firmly believe it's an emphatic statement. And I would ask you before I leave here today, what do you think is the greatest tool that I have that brings success to me and to my family and to the people that are counting upon me within our company? And I said our company. It's not, I happen to be the head of the company, but it's our company, and we work together, and as a team, we got a lot of things we want to accomplish. And there's a lot of people that the Exelon Corporation is the name of our company. There's a lot of things we want to accomplish. And again, I said we, and everybody has a place. Everybody also is something else within our company. Everybody else is a profit or a loss center. And that's just the way we look at it, from the person that answers the phone, from the person, everybody is. And everybody brings something to the party. And we're counting on everybody. We're counting on everybody. Because when somebody came aboard the team on the company, there was something that they wanted, and there was something we wanted from them. And we hooked up together on a dream. Right now, you've all got a dream. You got this beautiful new building you're moving into. And that's exciting. It's exciting. And I've got the picture in here, and I'm going to look at it a lot as I'm talking to you. And I know what it's like to move into a new building. And that word new is an incredible word, but we're going to leave it alone for a minute. We'll bring it back up again. But we're all committed to something. And also this, when one of the people on the team drops the ball, we all suffer. We all do. I mean, I'm not saying anything in here to try to appease anybody. We all do suffer. You know, somebody in the sales department makes a commitment to a customer that cannot be kept in the service department. They drop the ball, and the service is going to, they missed the block, and it's going to come up again back in the back. If somebody in the service department maybe says something derogatory about someone in the sales department, it can come up and hurt the company, the team. And I always felt this way, and I really do like having all of you in here together. And because I know everybody's important. I know Maxine's important. She's a character. I liked her the time I met her. She's a real asset. She's important. She made me feel welcome when I came into this business. And who knew what I was here for, but she made me feel very important. So she's a real intricate part of this place, just as well as you are. You know, I do know that, and you ladies will have to forgive me if I make just a few sports analogies because I'm a sports fan, and so, but I'll make only a few. When a team wins the Super Bowl, and they all got out there and they all had a plan, and they spent a lot of time planning the plan, and they spent a lot of time rehearsing the plan. And when you see steps and when you see training and you see a company that will get involved in doing something like this today, it's a company that's committed to its people, and it wants to plan and they want to learn. And it's important because if they didn't, the coach for the team that's going to win the Super Bowl couldn't stay in the locker room and get a bunch of guys to go, okay, you know, we're all going to win the big game, and you're all great players, and so you know how to play. Just go out there and do it, and we'll win. No, that isn't the way it happens. It's a plan, and it's a team effort. And we always know that whenever one of them turns sour or one doesn't do the job, Dennis Rodman's created a lot of problems for the Detroit Pistons. He's a great player, but his head's all sideways, and look how they fell all apart. Oh, yeah, he gets a lot of rebounds. But, I mean, hey, he's gone up here, and it's doing a lot of damage to the team. And that's what I'm talking about here. And when that Super Bowl's over, whatever team wins, they all get in the locker room and cheer and everything. But when the game is over with, if we were to ask each one of them where they were all going to go, boy, we'd probably be surprised to find out one went maybe out to dinner with their family. Maybe another one was single and had a date. Maybe another one went to church. Maybe another one went to the racetrack. Maybe another one went fishing. And a lot of them always say, well, go to Disneyland. That's what a lot of them say, right? But they go to different places. And so there's two things I'm trying to say here. They have a mission that they want to accomplish collectively. But in their own personal lives, they have a lot of different likes. But as people pulling together to accomplish one goal for the good of the team, they all have to be focused on that one thing. And that's a fact. That's just not something to say. I think one of the tragedies that too many people make in business, and I have made the same mistake myself, is to take too many things personally. Business is business. You know, if you have a lot of people that you have friendships with in business, that's great. But if you don't, and there's going to be some that you personally won't get along with, but you can't let them sap you and drain you and get you bitter and pull you away from what you're out to accomplish. Because I know, you know, that anger, that's like the wind that blows out the candle of the mind, a temper, terrible thing. I used to have on a scale of 1 to 10, I used to have a 10 3/4 temper. Now I'm down to about a 4. I've got a lot of work to do yet. What am I saying before we get going? I'm glad you're all in here. But I hope you don't have this before we go any further. I hope that service doesn't dislike salespeople. Salespeople don't dislike service. Administrative people dislike people in service. Technicians dislike people in sales. And the F&I department can't get along with a salesperson because he doesn't get every paper signed and every box checked out. And I hope that's not going on, because that's never going to stop. And we're always going to be trying to get things better, and nobody's ever going to have it 100% right. And if you think that it is, and if you start building little islands around, somebody moved my pencil holder. I mean, you know, all afternoon I have been, somebody touched my pencil. All right, who's in there? Oh, come on, get off of it. What I must say to all of us when I say that is, grow up. Cut it out. You know, and I've done that, you know. Who moved the picture of my grandfather? Captain Noah always has to be looking at me, right, Ron? My grandfather, boy, that picture, he's looking at me. You better, so you don't touch him, you know. I have 2 grandfathers, as everybody does. My grandfather, Captain Noah Tarkington, who I'm very, very proud of. I'm very proud of both of my grandfathers, who had a dream, and he wanted to be a captain in the Merchant Marines, and he fulfilled his dream, and I'm very proud of it. I got his picture sitting right in front of me. And my other grandfather, his name's Billy, Lithuanian, who had a dream to open a floor sanding business, and because he liked to work on floors. And my grandmother, from New England, I have this southern accent, but for those of you that are from up north, I'm half a damned Yankee. Surprise. See, you had no idea you were going to come here this afternoon and listen to a redneck that looked like Jimmy Swaggart, did you? You had no idea it was going to happen. But I'm also a half a damned Yankee. And my grandfather, when he was getting ready to go out and start that business, my grandmother refused to let him do it. And she said, we got to stick with that shipyard check. You know, never take a chance and never go out and try to be who you could be. And his life was totally different. So when he passed away, I took his last Social Security check and signed it. And I'm very proud of him. My other grandfather did just the opposite. He went after his dreams. And my other grandfather let somebody stop him. And what am I saying to you? Oh, I hope before you leave here today, if you didn't come in here with some dreams, that you go out of here with some. And if you came in here with some, I'm happy for you. I have a lot of dreams. I go on dream missions. Sometimes when things get a little rough, and we all have those rough days, don't we? And it's not always going to be fair, and none of us like to be rejected. And sometimes the old left knee that I've got arthritis in starts bothering me. And I'm not always feeling great. And as Earl Cook told me when I started selling, if you don't feel good, act like you do. And he meant it. Yeah, I mean, he meant it. And I'll never forget that. And what I'm saying on these dream missions is sometimes, even in the middle of a day, I'll give you a suggestion. I know there's some things that everybody in the room wants to accomplish, some things you want to acquire. And by the way, before I say this dream mission thing, I'm not a motivational speaker. I don't like to be qualified in that category because I think that puts a label on me before I get going. Like I never like to be, I think too many people have labeled people in our business, a car salesman. You're all alike. Every one of you. Like none of us go home and have Thanksgiving dinner and have families and, we all go to 7-Eleven and have a beer and a cheap sandwich. Well, it's not really fair to broad stroke anybody in any category in life, is it? So, as a motivational speaker, and another thing that amazes me about this business is I've heard this so many times. It's like every one of you in every department you work in, you already know what consistently the objections are going to be that you hear. Am I not right? You know them. The problems that are going to consistently come up. You know them, don't I? A lot of you shaking your head, yes, you know them. That's just like in selling. You all know that you're going to hear, I'm just looking to get your best price. I'm shopping around. I got to check with my husband, wife on lunch. I won't think about it. I've heard those so many times I can say it faster than that, but I wanted you to hear me. I've heard those enough. I mean, I know they're coming. Aren't they, Bob? Aren't they coming? You're brand new. They're going to say that, aren't they? And people in service, you know what certain complaints is going to be. You know what a problem is going to be. That Ford's made a mistake and it's going to keep surfacing. Somebody pulling the driveway and you see it coming in. You know it's already wrong with the automobile. You go, look, it's tilting. The whatever binga wanga boonga is not on there right. You know it's what the problem is. So if we know what the objections are going to be and the problems are going to be that we're going to face, please hear this statement. They should never be a stranger. Never. Never. I know in selling, people are going to tell me I'm just looking, checking around, won't think about it, get the best price, check with my husband or my wife. I'm not going to buy right now. I know they're going to say that. So when they say that, that does not knock me off guard anymore. Has it done it before? Yes. Yes, it has. Yes, it has. It's just like on my 50th birthday, there's something that I've made a commitment to myself. When my dad passed away at a very young age of 60. And so let's just say that I only have 10 years left. And I'm his only son. And I have to think about these things. Would you all agree it's a pretty valid thing to think about, isn't it? Then I'm going to eliminate any more than I have to this foolishness of making a fool of myself over and over and over and over and over again. Falling into that same old worn-out, beat-up trap. And I really mean that. I had a younger salesperson say to me a couple of weeks ago, boy, if you have been in sales for 28 years, you must really have it figured out. It was quite a statement. I had to think about it for a second. Make sense? He said, yeah, you must really have it figured out. And then you must really have a system, he said. Which system? I do have one. But he was right. After 28 years, I hope I have it figured out. But here's the statement I was going to tell you that I wrote. To know and not to do is not to know. To know and not to do is not to know. It's just like in America right now, we got a lot of people that are talking a good game, but they don't back it up with any action. You all know the statement. You can talk the talk, but you got to do what to back it up? Come on, what do you got to do? Talk the talk, you got to what? Walk the walk. Absolutely. Got to walk the walk. Action. Put feet on our dreams. Put feet on our goals. If you want to earn a certain amount a month, put feet on it. Action. Move towards it. Do something. That's one of the biggest problems in America today is laziness. You know, when I started out as a young guy working in the service department, if there was a guy that was lazy in the service department, you know, man, people going, that guy is lazy. We'd point him at, that guy's not a worker. Because when I started out, you work a little bit past your lunch hour, and you only got 30 minutes. You work an extra 5 minutes to impress the boss, and you come back 5 minutes early. I mean, you made sure you work later, and you come in early. You always did that to make sure you got the boss man in the South, the boss man's attention, you know. Because we were all apprentice, and you earned your right all the way up to the top. And you see, today, in a lot of places, if you get one that works, you go, oh, we got one that'll work. Look, Bob, so come here, we got one that'll work. And people want to know what's wrong with America? You see, that's one of the things that we want to walk out of here with this afternoon, is to make sure that we're very aware of what's going on in this nation, in this world, within our lives, within our own personal finances, right into where we work, and affects everybody around us. That's what we want to walk out of here with today. And if we do that, we've accomplished quite a bit today. Would you all agree with that? Let me ask you a question before we go any further. If I can share with you while we're going to be in here today, and we're not going to be in here a very long time, but if I can share with you some of the successes that I've had in my life that have brought joy to me and to my family, and maybe in some way you can take some pieces of that and apply it to your life, and it could bring some of that joy to the people that are counting on you. Would that be all right with everybody? Would it? Let me hear from you, please. Now, also, if I can share some of the failures that I've had that have brought heartache and pain and sleepless night and losing hair and wrinkles and a lot of misery, and maybe in some way, by hearing some of these things from me, you could eliminate those things either out of your life or that could come into your life and eliminate that from happening to you and the people that are counting on you. Would that also be all right with you? Thanks for saying that. Now, it's very important for me that you all know that I'm going to do this. I want to make a trade with you, too, before we go any further, because in the automobile business, the last industry takes trades anymore. I want to make one with you. I'd like for you, each and every one of you, to just give me an answer back if you accept my offer. If you will not do this, I was taught this when I started selling. The deadliest disease in selling, the deadliest disease in the service lane, the deadliest disease at the parts counter, the deadliest disease in F&I, the deadliest disease in the office, the deadliest disease in this business, also in life is this. Are y'all ready for the deadliest disease? Couple of heavy-duty words, aren't they? Pre-qualification. That's what we call it. That's what I was taught. So let me make an offer to you. If you won't pre-qualify me, I'll be honest with you. Do we have a deal? Let me hear from you.
Yes.
Please, do we have a deal here? You that came with us toward the lock left on, you know. Okay, God, like you got a great smile too. We do have a deal now, don't we? Because I'm going to be honest with you. I don't want, number one thing, you're going to give up something here today. You're going to get something before you leave. You're going to get a gift from the company, but you're also going to get, I hope you get something out of this, but I know one thing you won't get back. You won't get back the time that you've given up in here this afternoon. That won't come back. And our time is our scarcest resource. It can either be our best friend or, boy, can it be our worst enemy. You know, I always say to myself, make today's money today. You know, I know one thing at the end of the month in sales, and I'm in sales right now, and I'm in the speaking business. At the end of the month, I'll either have a good paycheck or a list of excuses. It's only one or two things I'll have. One or two. Same thing in every department you all work in. And excuses, I've learned something this very youthful age of 50. Everyday excuses that Parker Rogers makes to Parker Rogers are nothing more. Now hear this one. Everyday excuses that I make to myself are nothing more than everyday lies that I tell to myself. That's what they are. Kind of reminds me of a story about a man that goes over to his neighbor's house and he asked his neighbor if he could borrow his axe. And his neighbor said, I can't lend you my axe. And he said, why? He said, because I'm getting ready to make some chicken noodle soup. And he said, well, what does lending me your axe got to do with you making chicken noodle soup? And he said, well, really nothing. But if I don't want to lend you my axe, one excuse is just as good as another. And America is full of excuses today, isn't it? I like the cover. The minute I saw this, I love this cover of Time magazine. It says, what's happening to the American character? How would any of you in the room describe character? Anybody? What does character mean to you? Anybody? Aren't you glad you got up front now? Other stuff. What does character mean to anybody? Describe what character means to you. Come on, somebody. Come on. What? Absolutely. The person that you are. Absolutely. Anybody else? The person that you are like that. Anybody else? What you believe in. Absolutely. Very good. Both of those are very good answers. Anybody else? Yes, sir. Boundaries of what you will and won't do. Absolutely. Good answer. Boundaries of what you will and won't do. I like that. And when I talk about my grandfather, it's what my grandfather told me to do and not to do, what my grandmother told me to do and not to do, right? Anybody else? Our integrity. I like the cover of this magazine. It says, "What's happening to the American character?" And I thank you all for the answers, and I think they were all very good answers. Crybabies and busybodies. I like it. Bob, do you like this? What's happening to the American character? Crybabies and busybodies. Doesn't that reflect a lot of America today? You know, like every time you cut on the television now, and I tell you what, I've never seen more news than what y'all have going on out here in L.A. Y'all must have to get into counseling to get off of news. I mean, you know, like every time you cut on the TV, it's the 9 o'clock news at 8 o'clock. Why can't it be the 8 o'clock news? News on all the time. Instead, here's what they should do. Instead of saying, "Good evening, welcome to the evening news," they should say this: "Bad evening, bad news." That's what they should say, because that's what the television is full of, and that's what the newspaper is full of, and that's what a lot of Americans are full of right now, is all they can do is complain and whine and blame and point fingers, and it's really a little overbearing. It's very annoying because it's everywhere, and it's like a big virus, and it's all over this country. I mean, it's just cut on the radio, and it's like, after a while, you got to cut it off. Radio talk shows, I like to listen to them sometimes, but after a while, you got to cut them off. People are calling in to vent all of their frustrations. You know, I hate that. Yes. After a while, is there some joy out here, some happiness out here, some opportunities out here? You better believe there are. You better believe there are. It's like 2 years ago, we happened to be in Washington, D.C. And we had a Friday meeting and a Monday meeting, and we couldn't go home because we had too much to get done, so we stayed in Washington for the weekend, and we were looking in the newspaper, and I saw in the paper that there was going to be a sunrise service at the Lincoln Memorial. Anybody ever been to the Lincoln Memorial? If you have, would you raise your hand if you've ever seen it? Oh, quite a few people. It's incredible to see, isn't it? It's absolutely incredible. Would you agree? Bob, isn't it incredible? And we got up very early in the morning, and we got down. I think it started like at 5:30, and I said, well, let's get there at 4:30 so we can get a good seat. And we got there, and there were a few people there, and they were tuning the instruments for the music, and plus the person in front of me drank the last stinking cup of coffee. I go nowhere with them. Look, they were tilting the pot, you know. Anyway, I walked up, and we had a little bit of time, and the sun hadn't come up yet, and I walked up, and I hope you will hear what I'm getting ready to say to you. I walked up the steps, and I looked at a incredible thing to see, absolutely incredible thing to see. And I looked at him, and I was reading some of the things around the wall, and I was the only person up there. And I've been there before, and I was really enjoying being up there alone. I was looking at him, and then I turned around. I walked out to the top step. As a matter of fact, the next day, I made it on the news. They showed me for about, a second and a half? Is that what it was, Ron? We rewatched it as many times as we could. I mean, they flashed the camera later on because I stood there. But anyway, I looked out over the mall, and I was looking at the monument, and I stood there, and I did something that I'm going to challenge you to do, not only just today, but this afternoon, and hopefully you'll realize the importance of this. And not that you don't already realize the importance of this when I say this, but I'm challenging myself to do this more in my life. I stood there and I said to myself, why don't you just stand here for a minute and do this? Think. See, I always believe in life there's only two sides to anything. Either we are willing to pay the price for success and happiness, or we aren't. Either we are really willing to accept the ownership of a problem of somebody and turn it around and make them a happy customer, or we aren't. We are happy to be in sales and be new at it, and we're willing to keep that zing and zest and happiness of being in the business, or we won't. We are happy about being able to go out and work in a day, or we aren't. And there's only two choices. There's always only two choices. It's like one time I was sitting in a meeting, and this man got up and he was talking, and I didn't want to be there, and my boss had made me go hear him, and I didn't want to be there, and all of a sudden he made a statement, and I'm a pretty outspoken person, and so I started to say something. I started to bolt up and say something. I'm glad I didn't. Let me tell you what he said. He said this. He said, each and every one of you in this room at this moment is exactly where you want to be, doing exactly what you want to do with your life, whether you want to admit it or not. And that's when I just about got up to say something. I started saying, yeah, I got news for you, pal. I don't want to be here. I'm glad I didn't, because he backed it up with something else, because he said, because if you didn't like it, you could change it. So there's two words that I think would be very important what we do right now. One of them just surfaced. Change. That's what's getting ready to come up in that building right there. Change. Going to a new location. Change. And the other word I said was think. And I was standing on the top step of that Lincoln Memorial, and I was looking out over there, and I flashed back to my childhood. Let me go back to my childhood for a moment with you all. When I was a kid, I lived in a shipyard town, Portsmouth, Virginia. Anybody ever been in my hometown? If you ever been in the Navy, you've been in my hometown? Yeah, I knew I recognized you the first time I met you. You have been there. Yeah, that's right. Took that pretty southern girl and carried her out of our town, broke up that family. I was standing there. When I say I was a kid, we lived in, everybody's dad was either in the military or worked in the shipyard. Everybody got paid on the same day. Every 2 weeks on a Thursday, we all got paid. Everybody's refrigerator was empty Wednesday night. Everybody, nobody, the last dinner Wednesday night, everybody was out of food. I mean, the refrigerator, you could open the refrigerator door, and that whole neighborhood on Wednesday night, man, you didn't hear any food talking, okay? We were all happy there on that second Thursday, and like one of the neighbors had a car, and then everybody riding the car, and like my dad he was the first one to get the TV, so all the neighbors would come over for the little bit of time TV be on night, and they'd all come over our house and watch it. Some of you remember that, don't you? When the first TV came out, we cut the lights off because we said, have to watch it in the dark. Yeah. Like to do it to movies. We had to explain this to these younger people, because I was telling her when I got in the automobile business, she said, that's the year I was born. Yeah. I said, oh, okay. Okay, honey. That's right. There's no sense to talk about that, that 64 Super Sport in power. Only if she's a car collector. So, please, you remember that when we watch the TV, you'd say, you'd walk by the TV, don't get close to it, you'll get radar. You walk around, oh, watch it, no, walk all around, radar from the television, okay? You see, what it was this. It was new building. It was change. It was something we hadn't dealt with. And a lot of people feared it. They feared it. That's why there's so many changes going on in America right now. People are fearful of it. Fear will only do one or two things for every one of us. It will either totally intimidate us and practically terminate us, or it will inspire us and motivate us and drive us forward. It'll only do one or two things. Change is very scary to a lot of people. See, there's a lot of changes going on right now. We're sitting here talking. She goes home at night and takes a computer and talks to people all around the country. It's fascinating to me to hear that. I think that's very interesting. Well, that wasn't going on a few years ago. It's different. There are a lot of people that are intimidated by that. There's a lot of people intimidated by computers. My brother, he's a big computer guy. I'm not. Okay, but I also think you have to be very careful with computers, because I think the software has made a lot of people soft. They think that's the only answer. It's a great tool. But change is scaring a lot of people. Like, what's going on in America? I also remember that one time, all the ladies, they'd hang their clothes out on the clotheslines in the backyard. That's kind of where the social event was. Go out back and talk. Everybody bring in their clothes. I'll never forget this one day, and as I was standing on the top step, I thought about this. My mother went out to get the mail, and the mailman came down the street, and everybody go to the mailbox at the same time. And all of a sudden, my mother opened this envelope up, and she just started weeping. Well, when a young boy sees his mother crying, it is not a happy time. And I ran over to my mother, so did all the other neighbors, the ladies in the neighborhood. They knew what had happened. They knew what my mother had just gotten in the mail. What my mother had just gotten in the mail is my father had to go back into the military again. He'd already done one tour, he had to go back again. And as I stood there that day, I thought about that. Then I thought about this. I challenge you to think about this. I thought about all the men and women that have sacrificed their lives, beaches of Normandy, and we could go on and on and on and on and on. A lot of them came home with limbs missing. A lot didn't come home. Families that don't have mothers and fathers sacrificed their lives, fought, sacrificed for this, for our freedom. And for this right here, please hear me, so that we all could have the freedom to choose what we wanted to do with our lives. What are you doing with that very precious gift? Are you allowing a negative person to steal it from you? Are you allowing a non-productive person to convince you that America's not a wonderful, awesome, incredible country anymore? Are you allowing someone to get you in a very bad frame of mind who doesn't appreciate the precious gift? Don't let that happen, because they paid a mighty big price to give us what we have now. Did they not, ladies and gentlemen? Oh, let's not forget them. Let's not forget the ones that were tortured, that were prisoners of war. Oh, let's not forget that. Freedom to choose. Isn't that a great word, freedom? You see, that's what that guy was saying when he said each and every one of us is exactly where we want to be, doing exactly what we want to do. And when I told you that I go out on dream missions sometimes in the middle of the day when I'm having one of those rough days and things aren't going right, I'm subject to go in a room somewhere and sit alone, or go get in my car, drive around the corner and stop, and I'll close my eyes and I'll think about something that I want to accomplish, something that I'm going to do with myself and with my family. There's a home I want to build. I can see it. I tell you what, I've got it built in my mind right now. I know exactly where I want everything to be. It is in my mind. And sometimes when I'm having a rough time, it's not going good, I just walk away and I'll take a 10-minute dream mission. Sometimes on a day off, I'll go out and I'll touch and feel and smell something that I want to accomplish, because nobody ever said it was going to be fair. Nobody ever said it was going to be easy. If it was easy, we'd all be fighting. We'd all be fighting over it, because if it was so easy, that's why it basically is easy. Because I've discovered this. There are people, you recognize people like this, you know people that you work with that are like this, that will spend more time trying to figure a way of getting out of doing something versus going ahead and just doing it. I mean, they will. I used to date a girl at one time. She'd taken on so much work to be around me that one day she was told that if you take on one more day, you're going to get fired. And so one day she spent a whole day trying to figure out an excuse. You know, yours was decent, but hers was much better than yours. And by the time she came up with it, it was about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. We sold the excuse. And then I said to myself, you know, give it another hour, you could have got paid. One more hour, you'd have been off. and that's my point. You know, isn't it scary to think that we can get lulled in to doing that? And then when we don't make the effort to do the things that can reward us, that's self-esteem when you apply yourself. You just went to the gym. I find that hard to believe by looking at you personally, but other than that, no, I'm just kidding. I do the same thing myself. I hate going to the gym. I like leaving. I hate going.
Well, today the leaving part was bad.
It was bad. I don't like to work out. I like to finish working out. I'm miserable when I go in there. But you see, that's when we make an effort, we get the reward. The body rewards you when you go into the gym, and when you pay the price at work, you're rewarded. There's 2 types of being tired. There's 2 types of being tired. I'm going to say that again. There's 2 types of being tired. There's happy tired and there's tired tired. There's 2 types. Am I right, folks? There's definitely 2 types. That's just like in selling. You see, in my 28 years of selling, there have been many times I've been on the top of the board. Isn't that an incredible place to be? I mean, that's incredible, isn't it, Bob? I mean, talk about, boy, your posture is better. Your outlook on life is brighter. You're confident. I mean, you dare a customer to come in. You just dare them. You know you're going to win the contest. You look around and you know 80% of the sales force is, you know, they're your cup of tea. You shop in better stores. You eat in better restaurants. You get along so much better with your spouse. You know, it's when I'm doing very well, I take on this whole new sensuous mood with my wife. It's like, oh, hey. Like, you know, this is not fat anymore. It's love handles. Major difference. And that's like bringing all that agony and misery and complaining home and then bringing it to work. It's not very much fun. It's not fun to be around. It's not fun to live with. And it's not fun to work with, is it? Come on, is it, folks? That person that wants to drop their old baggage on everybody else. Isn't it? It's terrible. Yeah, that's what I had yesterday. I had a bunch of people, and they'd all been selling for a long time. They didn't want to be at the meeting. They didn't want to be there. They didn't want to do. I saw the numbers on the board, though, and I knew how good they really were, because what they were talking, see, they were talking a good game. They weren't walking a good game. Because what we do in life speaks a whole lot louder than what we say. What we do speaks louder than what we say. I knew what it was. It kind of reminded me of this group of people that was up in Baltimore one time. We were getting ready to do a meeting, and I really enjoyed meeting a lot of you. And I knew I was going to enjoy this because I got along with Bob. I said, this is going to be fun doing this. It's like, see, when I walked in that room yesterday, I know this. I started this meeting off to tell you this, and I know that I'm right. I walked in there, and I went, oh, no. Oh, no. Why me? It reminded me of a group I had in Baltimore about 2 years ago, because it's not the first time I've done this. I was meeting all the people, and all of a sudden, I stepped out of the room, and I said to Ron, I said, look, come get me when they're all in here. And then I'll come back in. He said, oh, what's the matter? You've never done that before. I said, I'll tell you what's the matter. That's the ugliest group of people that I have ever seen in my life. In the South, we say oogly. It wasn't the suits or ties or beautiful dresses they had on. It's who they were on the inside. They wanted to dump their old baggage on me. They wanted to bring their problems in and dump them on me. But you see, I have enough of my own. I don't need theirs. As a matter of fact, I think this is a good time for me to inject some incredible news. And every time I do this, people get so excited, several of them explode out of their chairs, they cheer. So I'll give you this warning because I don't want you to get a soft drink knocked over on you, or you get an elbow in the eye, something like that. It's a very dangerous thing to happen. Every time I do this, this happens, okay? Are you all ready? I mean, it's incredible news. I know you all are ready for some incredible news, right? Quit looking at your watch. Okay, you're ready. Here it comes. Now get ready, because you're going to love it. In life, when we have solved some problems, we have earned the right to get some more. Wow, this is a weird group of people you got here, Bob.
Thank you, sir.
Now, really, I've done this at least hundreds of times. I've done this, and I've never had a person get up and cheer yet. But you see, it is good news to know that. The bad news is this, is to let our problems get in front of our faces, and all we can do is focus upon them, and we cannot think about anything else. Stick with me, please. He'll handle that door. We cannot think about anything else but the problems, and they cloud our vision, and they cloud our opportunities, and they take the life out of us, and they drain us to where we can't even see it. I have a thing I do. I got to recommend this to you. I hope you'll like it. I have a cure for that. I call it, I only allow myself 30 minutes worth of personal punishment, okay? Because I've already discovered something. Misery is a self-inflicted wound. Did you get that? Misery is a self-inflicted wound. So here's what I do. I only allow myself 30 minutes worth of personal punishment. Let me give you an example. I just said, Bob, misery is a self-inflicted wound, and it is. You see, let me give you an example. Like I'm in a hotel, the phone rings, it's my wife. And she goes, you wouldn't believe what we just got in the mail. And I go, what? And because my father always told me, he said, I don't like to get mail that has little windows on the front. It's no good news to get the little windows, is it? Yeah, you know it's a bill, right? See, the little windows bother me. You look through the mail, window. Doesn't anybody love me? Yeah, can somebody write me a note? Boy, you get to see it. And she says, yeah, boy, we just got mail. I said, tell me what it is. She says, I go, is our name on there? Is it spelled right? Yeah, it's us. Oh, I didn't know that. Finally, I hang up the phone. What I'll do is this. I'll take out my watch and I'll say, okay, here you go. I can't believe this. I had no idea we owed this. I mean, what in the world am I going to do? This is terrible. I didn't have any. And after doing this for about 3 minutes, I get sick of it. And then I just go ahead and seek the solution. You see, I know something that is very important for you to know this, and you probably already do. From adversity, we build strength. Failure is only failure if we fail to learn anything Let me give you the definition of insanity. Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. In the country, we say if you keep doing what you're doing, you're going to keep getting what you're getting. You know, if people go along and they go, I don't know what I'm so sick of this life. I don't ever have enough money. I don't know how I'm ever going. I mean, they don't change anything. There's that word again, change. Like, you know, some genie's going to arrive on the scene and go, oh, you wondrous one. We've been searching for you. Just give us a command and we'll be right there. It's like people going around looking for magic. We're the magic. We're the magic. You know, and nobody's going to carry these around for me today but me. Wherever they go, be right where I carried them. That's wherever I go, be right where they carried. Whatever goes on up here today, all of the thoughts and the decisions are made right here. I'm responsible for them. And it affects me and my family and my business partners. It's the truth. You see, I'm going to give you a word for the 90s. It's the accountable decade. It's the accountable decade. That's what it is. One thing about that computer that's wicked, it does keep score, doesn't it? It does keep that score. Gets it quick, too, doesn't it? You know, boom, there it is right there. We have to be accountable to ourselves. Accountable to ourselves. That is so very important. You think the most rewarding thing for any of us to do is to our own selves is to be true. We're exactly where we want to be, doing exactly what we want to do, whether we want to admit it or not. You see, I told you there have been many times I've been on the top of that board selling, but I want to get one thing straight with everybody in here. There have been a few times that I hovered near the bottom of the board. There's a major difference in selling 25 automobiles retail in a month, one at a time, there isn't selling 4. It's a major difference. You remember how I told you reacted when you're on the top? Well, when you're on the bottom, your posture drops. Your outlook on life changes. You don't go shopping anymore. You don't eat in those nice restaurants anymore. And you sure don't take on that sensuous mood anymore. That's all gone. And I tell you something else that happens. And I hope everyone's listening to me, because when I'm talking to you, by the way, I'm listening too, because I'm talking to me. You start attracting other bottom of the board people. By the way, bottom of the board people are all through life. Because you all know the answer to this. Misery loves what? God. We don't know them yet. Now, I've told you all of these things to build up to this point, to a conclusion that I've come to. Because of the waste and misuse of our government, of some major corporations in America, of our citizens in this nation, we all have come to a point in history that is very unique and very rare. We have been forced, I said forced, we have actually been propelled into this gap that I call decision. It's like the crossroads in the country. When you come up to a crossroads in the country, you have to make a decision. You go the wrong way, you're a long time getting back. We have been forced to make these decisions. It has changed, has it not, folks? It has changed. There are a lot of people that say, oh, please, get it back to the way it used to be in 1976. I wanted to go back to the way it used to be. Please. And it's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. The bad news for people that won't recognize the fact that this has happened and that we have to make these changes, we have to make these decisions, that we have to be very accountable. I'm going to give you some quick descriptions in accountable. One way of being accountable is to manage your daggone 24 hours, because a lot of people say, well, boy, it isn't fair and it isn't even. There's one thing we all have that's equal, 24 hours, and nobody's ever figured another way to get a second out of a day. So every day we start off the day with a playing field, the lines are cleaned off of it, and it's even as far as I look at it. I look at it when I go in and meet a brand new customer. It's a chance for me to start all over again, try something new all over again. I do that. I do that. Let me tell you something. Hey, in the last 2.5 years, I have cold called the United States of America. I put over 200,000 miles on a rental car. That doesn't count what I have flown. I have been left standing on some showroom floor so long that I wondered whether the plant lady was going to come by and water me or not. You know, I mean, I've been out there, okay? Oh, is it very rewarding what I have learned out here. Oh, I have met some incredible people, but I've also discovered something else. You know that chicken noodle soup that I told you about, the excuses? And by the way, I hope you're listening to me and your mind's open. I don't really have anything new in here other than the realization of we're being forced to make these changes and these decisions and be very accountable. We're being forced to that. We're being forced to that point. But I learned something about that chicken noodle soup. Those same excuses are paramount all over the United States of America. North Carolina's using the same ones they're using in LA. New York's using the same ones they're using in Chicago. Boston's using the same ones they're using in Virginia. See, I thought when I got to LA, I said, I'll tell you one thing. When I get up to LA, I mean, I'm going to meet the smartest, sharpest car people in the world when I get up there. I'm going to meet Cal Worthington and his dog Spot. I'll get out there and I'll meet Elizabeth Taylor. I'll go down to Rodeo Drive. I'll see all those movie stars. I got here, rented a car, and drove out to Palm Springs and said to somebody, where's Rodeo Drive? They said, Rodeo Drive? 100 miles back that way. I went, it is? Can't believe this. Same excuses. Nationwide. Here's one that's being used a lot in California. Listen to this one. I hear people all the time. Now, by the way, before I tell you this, I don't make light of being unemployed. I've been unemployed. One thing about being unemployed, when you lose a job, the most refreshing moment is when you get off of the property, isn't it? At least you're gone. I've been unemployed, so when I say this, I don't make light of being unemployed. I hear this. I've been all through San Diego, all around Los Angeles. I hear people go, you know, we've been hit harder by the recession than any other part of the nation. I mean, I've heard this a lot, Bob. I'm telling you, I've heard this a lot. And what I basically say to most people is this, one thing that applies to that. You've been on the gravy train for about 35 years. Could you give a little bit back? I mean, we're talking, you have had it incredible out here. I mean, your homes have gone up 9,000 times more than any other place in the world. I mean, in California for 20 years, if you bought a home, you were rich 4 years later. I mean, come on. The government's dumped $12 trillion in here. You know, that's per year. And then I hear, like when we came in, I said, let's make an agreement with each other. Like if I'm driving a car and I'm stuck in traffic, and I start complaining about traffic, I want you to do something. I want you to remind me of something. Traffic's good. We're in the car business. It's not good when you don't have traffic and you're in the car business. See 2 or 3 customers a day. You know, down in Mount Olive, North Carolina, there's not a lot of traffic. And I hear people go, they're congested. These are automobile people I'm talking about, complaining about the traffic. Man, I want to tell you one thing. There's some cars and trucks out in this part of the country, isn't it? And I don't know whether you have stepped outside and taken a look at where you live or not. And maybe it's an advantage to you to have an outsider take a look. But this is gorgeous out here. Scully, the Apple computer, did you see about him? Who was sitting up at the Clinton's speech, to the State of the Union speech. He was sitting up there beside Hillary, this future world leader. He's going to go home and he's going to start a little business in Connecticut. And he likes the climate better in Connecticut. And that's why he's going home. Other than that, there's no reason he's going home. Doesn't have anything to do with that Apple just lost a whole lot of money. Doesn't have anything to do with they got to compete with this Gates in Seattle. Doesn't have anything to do with that, does it, folks? Wrong. He's running from the competition is what he's doing. Let me ask you folks a question. Are you going to run from the competition? Thank you. Are you going to run from the competition? Does competition scare you? Huh? Doesn't scare me. Doesn't scare me. I know one thing. One time I was selling cars, and it was when I was at the bottom of the board, and I was sharing a desk with another guy. Let me challenge all of you in all these departments to hear this story. And I was sitting there, and all of a sudden, I was having this great 4-car month. It was the last day of the month, and I was hoping to get number 4 out, and it was real shaky. And he had about 27 units out. Are you listening to me? And so, finally, I did something that I was not doing a whole lot of then. I started thinking. I had let my thinking drift off for a couple of months. I was not in control of that. You know, I believe we have to exercise our thinking just like we do when we go to the gym and exercise our arms. I really believe that. You got to exercise it. Now I was sitting there, and all of a sudden I said, well, I got to think about this. Here he is having this incredible month. He's using the same buyer's orders I'm using, same credit applications. We're both sharing the same desk. It's the same temperature in this building. We're both selling out the same inventory. It's the same temperature outside in the same town. We're both in the same town. Something's just not right here. Something's going wrong here. And it's sure not him. The only thing he had to do with me is ask me to get out of the way so that he could get in that desk. I was just clogging up his way. That was basically what I was doing. I was an in-the-way person. You ever know any people like that? You know, maybe he'd take me away from that, sitting there making that fun call. You know the one I'm talking about, when you're sitting there and you call your buddies? And each non-productive person spends the day calling each other. The fun calls that won't pay your phone bill. You know the ones I'm talking about? The fun calls? And then when they're calling you, by the way, they're calling you all the time. You know the fun calls. And you know they're not doing anything if they're always calling, aren't they? They're not doing anything. You know, it's like, I had a business in New York for years. It's one thing I love about the Jewish people. I try and figure it out. At first, I didn't get it. You know, you get around the Jewish people in New York, and they go, hurry up, come on, what do you got? Come on, hurry up, get it over with. You know, man, they offended me. No, I finally realized, they realized their time was valuable. Business. If you got something to say it. If not, get out of the way. Does that make sense? You know, you got time for your fun call. I want to work all week so I can go to the Hamptons. I want to go down to the beach. So while I'm here, this is where I make the international language. This is spoken everywhere. Everybody speaks this fluently, don't they? By the way, do you know this is the only color that goes with every other color? Look at it. It goes with that ugly tie you got on. No, I like that tie. Goes with that beautiful dress. You notice how I handle the ladies, don't you? Goes with this cowbell. It's the only color. You know what? And everybody speaks this language, don't they? As a matter of fact, I was in Iceland one time, and I got out of a cab, and I said to the guy, I said, how much are you? And he said, oh, no, speak English. I said, how much are you? He said, oh, no, speak English. I said, okay, I gave him 25 cents. I walked over. He said, hey, come back here. You owe me $7. I thought you didn't speak English, pal. Everybody speaks this. Everybody speaks this. Hey, can I ask you all to bear with me and let me sing for you? Now, I cannot sing. Get this up front before we get going. But I do have the audacity to try, okay? I do not sing. I haven't done this in a while, but may I sing for you? Can I have your permission? Boy, you're great people. What a great... I probably wouldn't sing. Some of us remember the Mickey Mouse Club, okay? When I was a kid, watching the Mickey Mouse Club, M-I-C-K-E-Y-M-O-U-S-E. Okay, they'd sing that. Okay, so I got my money song, okay? Y'all ready? M-O-N. See, I told you I couldn't sing. N, because we need it. E-Y, why? Because we cannot do anything without it. M-O-N-E-Y. Now, if you think that I think that money is the most important thing in life, no, I do not. I know it's not the most important thing, but it's right up there with breathing. It's that close, okay, Bob? So what are we all really here for? We're all here to make this honorably and deliver a great service to customers. Is that really the bottom line, what it's all about? Yes, it is. And I know the people that don't want to talk about that, they're avoiding the reality of what it's all about. Without this, I tell you what, you might enjoy working in this dealership. If you go down and your check bounces, talk about losing, the owner becoming very unpopular. It'll happen real quick. I don't know if you've had one of those checks not before, but I have. Boy, you get hot. That family thing breaks up real quick. Everybody comes in to do this to work towards this to the best for everybody else, the international language. That's really what it is all about. And there's so much of it out here right now, and there's so many opportunities out here right now, and I'm getting ready to show you the thing that's going to keep you from succeeding and enjoying it, and enjoying making this, enjoy spending it, enjoy sharing it. You see, but remember this, I said we have been forced into this decision point right now. Forced into this decision point. Is everybody getting what I'm saying right now in this forced into this decision point? Would you nod your heads if you are getting what I'm saying? I really want to hammer this point home. Man, we are being made to do this. Our government has blown it. We've blown it. Does that mean it's all over with? No. Corporations have blown it, have they not? It's disgusting. Come on, am I right? They've blown it, man. We're trillions of dollars in debt. Does that mean America is all over with? No. Don't we still have, what is inside of every one of us in this room? Every one of us is an immigrant from somewhere. Unless you're an Indian. Other than that, you were here. This is basically yours to begin with. Other than that, we're all immigrants, aren't we? I'm very proud of that, aren't you? And what is one of the things that we all should cherish? And I'm not saying this to try to sound good. I'm saying this so that we can be, it's nice to know what you're carrying around, isn't it, ma'am? It's nice to know what you got, right? Well, we inherited this pioneer fighter spirit, didn't we? Come on, didn't we? You better believe we did. Well, boy, to call on it right now, because you got it. Call on it now. But if you don't use it, you will lose it. It's in there, if you'll just call on it. Right now, we've been forced. But let's take a look at your position right now in a situation you're forced. Honda sales have dropped 67%. 65% of Nissan dealers are losing money. Toyota is in the fight of their life. They're at their, Subaru's got so many cars stored up in some warehouse somewhere they can't get any more in. If they put another one in there, they got to put it in with a helicopter. Can't get any more in there. What was there? 15,000 in one warehouse. Nissan just closed a plant in Japan. It is the first automobile plant to ever close. Ever. Did you hear what I just said? Ever. Ever. Now, let me take you back to 1981 real quick when I worked in nothing but Ford dealerships doing sales training. 21% interest rates. Now, those of you that were around then, would you raise your hands if you were around then? Don't get scared and, quiver, bring back this and haunt you when I say this. But I got to say it, so get ready, okay? Granadas. Fiestas. And then Henry Ford, now listen to me, this is critical that we know this. You see, if we don't think and if we don't look and we don't realize where we are and where we've come from, we might not know where we're going. Henry Ford got on Good Morning America and he was being interviewed, and somebody said, Henry, do you think Ford Motor Company might go bankrupt? He said, yeah. Oh, thanks. That pumped everybody up. See? Oh, thanks, Henry. Oh, boy. Now, let's take a look at 1993. Prime rate's 3.5. Ford's the hottest product in America. Out of the top 5 sellers, you got how many of them? 5. Out of the top 10, you got how many? 6? America is turning right around and thinking domestic. They trust Ford. They believe in the quality. They believe in the product. It's your hour. Don't miss this one. Don't miss this one. Because the ball is in your court. It won't stay there forever. It just can't be that way, can it? Life just does not work that way. But what a parallel from 81 to 93. Is that incredible to think about? Woo! Ford didn't even have a gas saver in 1981. They didn't even have a car that could get good gas mileage. Am I right, sir? I have to say sir to these older guys in the room. And you, am I right, sir? Didn't even have a gas saver. Hey, what am I saying to everybody right now? I'm going to show you something. You're going to get everything that I've already brought you to this point. You see, as I travel this country, I've had the great opportunity to meet thousands of people. Thousands and thousands of them. that I constantly ask myself, what is this negative force that holds so many people back? What is this force that drives so many people into the herd? And nothing has ever described the herd to me as much as when I came up here and rode by Norco. I saw the herd. I mean, it's incredible, isn't it? It's incredible. I got off the interstate and went up and took a close look. It's incredible. That really describes the people that really want to get caught up in this as well as any place I've ever been. What is this negative force that gets people to procrastinate, to associate with the wrong people, to buy that negative stuff that comes through that television, to bring it into their workplace, or to allow someone that continues to bring it into the workplace to infect you and let them keep doing it over and over and over and over again, to fall into salespeople and sales managers that pre-qualification trap over and over and over and over again, to keep repeating the same destructive behavior over and over again. What is it that makes this happen so much? What is this negative force? See, I focused upon this for so long. I sketched out what I thought it should look like, but I'm not an artist, so I hired a group of artists to do composites for the police department. And we sat in my office for 3 hours and talked about, 6 hours, and talked about nothing but negative. Negative. And there's a lot of negative around. Boy, that's all we talked about. And I said, I want you to capture this look for me. So they headed away to work on this project, and I got a call from them a few days later, and they said, well, we're finished with it. I said, I can't hardly wait to see it. I'll meet you at my office. Boy, they got there, and I pulled in, and they whipped in, and when they got in there, and they showed this to me, I recognized it immediately. Immediately. As a matter of fact, you will too. Every one of you will recognize this. As soon as I show it to you, you'll recognize it. So without any further delay, let me introduce you all to the No Man. N-O-M-A-N. Now, by the way, that's just one of 1,000 different faces. That could be somebody in your family, somebody on your job, somebody in traffic that cut in front of you and you chased them 6 ramps to get even with them. I've done a lot of that. You could be standing in this, you could be at work and one of them could come up and start talking very negative to you, telling you how bad business is or the economy is. You see, here's what the No Man wants you to think about. You know that 8% unemployed in California? What he wants you to think about that. Let me ask you something. Does this make any sense? If there are 8% unemployed, sell to the 92% that are working. Do business with them. If you pull up to a stoplight salespeople and you see a person standing there with a sign that says, homeless will work for food, give them $2. Don't take a credit application on them. See, this is the biggest manipulative propaganda going on. Your televisions in L.A., I told you this earlier, got more of it than any place I have ever seen. Your newspapers are full of it. Your whole area, it's rampant in Southern California. Now, I told you it's all over the nation, but boy, you got it going on here. People are living in this part of the country, and I heard for a while, remember this one? You're going to like this one. The No Man got hold of a lot of them, told them, move! Boy, they loaded up and headed to Seattle. There were so many of them headed to Seattle, they drove signs on the border of Seattle that said, Los Angeles people, don't come in here. Go away. That's where they put it there. And then they just announced they're going to shut down that Boeing plant. They're all coming back. Can't get rid of those houses right there now. Am I making light of that? No, I'm not. I'm saying, right, they didn't want to realize what they had right where they were. This is, let me tell you something, everything starts in Southern California and the rest of the country follows. It's a fact. People look at this part of the country. When I tell people, I say, I just got back from L.A. They go, oh, you did? L.A., ooh. Hollywood, biggest sweat. These are people all in shape and everything. I mean, you know, except for this guy who says he goes to the gym. You know, another one of those people goes in the gym, takes a steamer, comes up, puts the Nike bag on his shoulder. Where you been? To the gym. See, this is just one of 1,000 different faces. If somebody at work was getting into your thinking and got you thinking very negative, you'd be talking to the No Man. This is just one of 1,000 different faces. My father told me the enemy, listen to this statement, is before you with 1,000 different faces. He told me that many times. They want to steal your future from you, son. They want to steal your dreams from you. They want to lure you into what they are up to that's not good. If you're out past 12 o'clock, you're out with the enemy, he told me, because there's nothing going on that's good. And they want the ones that are losers want you to become a loser. Boy, he was giving me some good information, wasn't he? See, he said the enemy's before you with 1,000 different faces. This is just one. What does this face say to anybody? Tell me, what did that face say to you? Anybody?
Looks like one of my beanbags.
I got a sign on the dashboard of my car. Look at it before I leave, okay? It's right at the door. It says no be-backs. Okay, what does that face say?
Sad blank.
Sad, and what else? Blank? Absolutely. Absolutely. See, if we're not thinking, and I'm really concentrating on this thinking thing that I mentioned earlier, it becomes very blank up here. And I've been blank. Anybody else? What does his face say? What does it say to anybody else? Grim, absolutely. What else? Grim is definitely it. Anybody else? Oh, absolutely, very negative. Very negative. Anybody else? See, just one of 1,000 different faces. I said 1,000 different faces. I call this, by the way, the no man's old baggage from the past. No, 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 no. This one has a 1954 baggage claim check on it. That's like a friend of mine was telling me the other day. He says, you know, my brother is 55 years old, but he's still hung up at 10. I said, kind of made me think of this old bag here. Old baggage from the past. I had to say to myself one time, Parker, get out of the junkyard of your past bad experiences. Bury them before they bury you. You see, I said something earlier. I said, from adversity we build strength. Failure's only failure if we fail to learn anything from it. From adversity we build strength. Have you ever had a great month in selling, backed up with a bad month, and not ask yourself through the bad month, what am I not doing that I did during the great month? Okay, well, that's not learning anything from it. That's not learning. That's like a lot of people who used to produce twice as much as what they're producing now, and they haven't stopped to think and ask themselves, what am I not doing that I used to do? You're still putting in the same amount of hours, just not thinking the same way. This bag always reminds me of this story. It's a guy in Virginia Beach. Ron wanted to rent a home in Virginia Beach, and we were riding around looking, and we saw a house, and the sign was out front, and we called the guy, and he said, you got this listed? And he said, yeah. And we said, well, could we talk to you? And he said, yeah. And we drove over his office, and we got over there. And we sat there for 2 hours, and he told us these stories. First story he told us was that he'd gone through a divorce. His wife had remarried. She had been remarried for 2 years, but he was still waiting for her to come back. That was an hour. Then he had a family member pass away, and I don't know whether you've ever had one or not, but I have, and it's not very pleasant, but one of his had, and he told us about that for about another hour. And we listened to all of this stuff for about 2 hours, and we left. On the way out, I said, oh, my goodness, man, was that incredible? So we waited about 3 days, and we called him. We said, we're coming back over. We went back over to bump him, get the appearance down. Well, we got in there, and we sat in front of him, and for 2 hours, would you believe he took us through that same stuff again about the divorce and death for 2 hours? But, now mind you, when everybody says but, sometimes we bumped him about $250 a month. Times a 24-month rental. I felt like it was worth it listening to that for 2 hours again. Does that make sense? You know, if you do that times 24, I thought it was a pretty daggone valuable experience myself. But about 2 weeks later, I was in the grocery store one day, and I was pushing a cart, and I was like in the produce section. I saw him coming, and I looked up. He didn't see me. What do you think I did? Whoom! I was in meat like vapor. There was a turbocharger in the back of the cart. What did I not want to hear? I didn't want to hear that anymore. I had enough of it. That's just like if you ever come to work in the morning, you're all excited about being here, somebody comes in, and next thing you know, they talk to you for 4 minutes, and you walk away, you go, oh, my goodness. Oh, Lord, it is bad. Oh, in a recession, my goodness, what are we going to do? Maybe we need to move the family? Maybe we can get, do you think I'll ever be able to sell the house? Maybe I ought to change careers. One person can do that. Am I not right? One person can do that, and that represents this face. Right? Just one person. Cut on the television, and you got more of them after you. And you read the newspaper, if you get one at work and the TV and the newspaper, you're a done deal. Forget it. You're history. You're history. That's how wicked this thing is. I mean, it reminds me of something else, too. And by the way, before I say this, I do want you all to know that I know that there's some people in this room right here, right now at this moment, that have had some personal difficulties in their lives. They don't tell anybody about them. They use them for strength. And if they were to tell somebody about them, you'd say, if they were to really tell you about it, you'd go, you're kidding me. That's awful. How did you make it through that? See, let me tell you what's real big in America today. And I don't know whether anybody ever spent a lot of time in San Diego or not, but that's a different kind of town up there. There's all these little places around with, groups. There's a bunch of them up there. There's more seminars going on up there, some strange seminars going on in those hotels up there. Because we were in a lot of hotels. I'm telling you this, but let me tell you what's hot. This is number one in America in bookstores and in seminars. This is number one. But I'm going to give you number two real quick because number two is getting ready to overtake number one. But let me give you what number one is, okay? Number one is this one. Now, y'all ready? This is hot in America today. I'm a victim. That's big. I'm telling you, it's very hot in book sales and in seminars. See, we're a nation of victims now. I don't know if you get a chance, if you like a lot of times I'm in the airport and I come on TV and you can watch Oprah Winfrey, Phil Donahue, Sally Jesse Raphael. That's the victim circuit. You're all sitting up there, while they're doing that, no man's got a grip on them. Somebody else is having their piece of the pie. Now, let me give you what's number two that's getting ready to overtake number one, okay? Because you're going to appreciate this. Number two is this. It's this one. This is hot. You're going to like this one. I'm from a dysfunctional family. That's big. I'm telling you, that's hot. That's hot. Am I making light of some difficulties people have had in their personal lives? Oh, no. From adversity, we build strength. I'm listening to a bunch of, my son's getting ready to fall right in this group. The 20-year-olds now are saying it's the yuppies' fault. And the yuppies were saying it's the people before them's fault. And they spent it all, and they wasted it all, and the people who are retired shouldn't even get anything. Now, don't take their Social Security away from them. They got too much. They made too much. Everybody, it's a society of victims. Is the no man having a big time in this country, folks? Come on, is he? Oh, man, he's robbing everybody blind. See, I thought about something, this dysfunctional thing. That'll probably make some sense. See, when I was a kid, my father ran the Norfolk Naval Shipyard. He started off as a laborer, worked his way all the way to the top. At one point of his career, he was a welder. And he was very proud of the fact that a welder made it all the way to the top. And sometimes when he was a welder, he'd come home from work and his eyes would be burning from the arcs from welding. My mother cut a potato in half. She'd put each half on his eyes. He'd lay back for hours and he wouldn't be feeling good. I'd come through the house howling and screaming like my son does, and he'd go, "I'm going to kill you, boy!" When I get up, hated it when he called me boy. It's a Southern thing. My father kept a belt about that big hanging on my door. Every time I show this to an audience, I get the dimensions exactly right, because that's exactly how big it was. He used it on me a lot, too. Today in America, if my father used that belt on me, he'd be put in jail for child abuse. If he had not used it on me, I'd probably be in jail. You see, but I thought about something. That month that I got 4 cars out for the month, now I want you to hear this, okay? That was because when I was younger, my father hollered at me. That's really copping out, isn't it? Isn't that copping out? Why do I tell you all these stories? What are the points I'm trying to make? If I could take a microphone right now and hold it in my hand and the United States of America would listen to me and they say, "Parker, you can say one word, just one word, and the whole nation will hear you. You can only say one word." Can I tell you what that would be? To all of you and to all of me, to all of you and to me, this is the word I'd say. I'd say, "Wake up!" That's what I'd say. In this incredible country. Oh, and I plead with you to wake up when you got everything going for you right now, because he sure wants to take it away from you. You see, he likes another word that the no man likes. It's called blame. I call it blamesmanship. There's new words are really hot now. Like people like paradigm, that means change. The guy that thought that made about $30 million. I don't know why I didn't think of that. How did he beat me to that word? He opened the dictionary. And then people like say now methodology means method. Okay, methodology. So I got a new word for blame, okay? Because I do want to be current, all right? Is that all right with you? You should be current, right? Blamesmanship. It's my new way of saying it, okay? I used to have my PhD and my master's degree in blame. I turned in my credentials, but before we leave here, let me establish with you all why I know so much about blame. In 1978, my wife and I lived in a 3-story home in Virginia Beach, and we could see the ocean from 3 different places. And in the driveway, I had a yellow 1978 Eldorado Baritz. Does anybody remember that automobile? Ooh. And then it had a little gold plaque on the dashboard. It said, They used to put this on a lot of cars. They used to put it on Thunderbirds, too. It said, built expressly for Parker Rogers. I didn't even know what expressly meant, but I loved it. I kept that plaque so clean. People get in the car and go, by the way, did you see that? Yeah. Did you notice they built this especially for me? This is built for me. Don't you all know when that thing was going down the assembly line and some guy was getting ready to hang the door and this guy hollered, hey, Bob, put that door on there real tight because this one's being built expressly for Parker. No, that is not what happened. There was about 20,000 of them out in the field and some guy walked up to me, but I loved it. I hope you all remember this. I hope you love automobiles and I hope you love trucks because I sure do. I hope you do. Those of you in sales and those of you in service and all your departments, if you don't smell the smell of a new car again, you need to get your nostrils cleaned out. Because it's an incredible smell to a customer when they pop that door open. Nothing like it. I mean, it just, whew. People in this country have a love affair with their vehicles. They always have. They always will. They love to do business with somebody that wants to do business with them, and they detest doing business with somebody that does not want to do business with them. And they sure don't want your old baggage dropped on them. And if they got a problem, they are seeking a solution. And if they're looking for a vehicle, they're in search of a salesperson that will sell it to them because they never have the confidence to buy it. Do you know what people buy? They buy people, salespeople, and they buy confidence to help them make a decision because they can't. All they know how to say is, I'm just looking to get your best price from the shop around and check. My husband and wife won't think about it. I'm not looking around that now and go buy it right now. I don't know anything else to say. What do you think? They can walk in and go, okay, I'll take it. What a great group of people. They go home, somebody says, did you get a good buy? Did I get a good buy? I met this guy. I said, take my house, take my kids. They made $26,000 off me. Some of the A and H and the Q and P, and I think they call the seat protector or something. I paid $900 for that. You think I care? I love those people. That isn't what they say. They say, I got a great buy because you convinced them of that and you sold them that. That's what somebody comes in this service department and they got a problem. Boy, I'm going to tell you one thing. You got the greatest challenge in your life when you bump into somebody who's got a problem is to solve it for them and let them roll out of here happy that you solved it for them and they got treated fairly and they paid a fair price for it. You talk about, I'll tell you something, this has been said more than anything else in this whole business, in the service and the parts business. I don't think a lot of people here anymore, but you cannot imagine the damage that can be done by one irritated customer. I'll tell you one thing, if one irritated customer gets into a church, costs you $100,000. Just tells a couple people in the church, $100,000 right there, right in the church. If one of them just was sit down, boy, I tell you what, I never go back. I mean, I tell you what they did to me, and the other one, yeah, what'd they do? Boy, I tell you what I did. I went in there and I had a problem with that transmission. And I tell you what they did. And the guy made me wait. And I sat there and waited. And they told me it was my problem, not their problem. I tell you what, I'll never go back. I'll never go back. $100,000 right there. It's the truth. It's absolutely the truth. By the way, sitting in my driveway, I had that Eldorado Brits. And I also had a red Corvette with white interior. There's never been a redneck born that didn't think the minute he got a Corvette, he was a done deal. Okay? When we're born, we go, if you get a good-looking truck and a Corvette, you're everything. One morning, my wife and I got up very early, and we had a meeting to go to, and we drove into downtown Norfolk, Virginia, and we walked in this huge room, and we sat down in the back. There's about 75 or 85 people in there. We sat there, and all of a sudden, they called out our names, and we got up to walk to the front of the room, and I grabbed my wife's hand, and I said 2 words to her. I said, I want you to remember 2 things. Number 1, I love you very much, and number 2, we're very proud people. We walked in front of a federal bankruptcy court judge, and he, bam, dropped a gavel on us and declared us bankrupt. And with a matter of moments, we lost everything materialistically we had on the planet Earth. And I went from living in a 3-story home on the beach into a $350 a month apartment, and I wrote a bad check to get into that. At the same time, I found out my father had asbestosis from working in a shipyard. They gave my dad 6 months to 1 year to live, and they were exactly right. 6 months later, my father passed away. I started driving my father's Datsun pickup truck. That's what they called them, Datsun. Now, I don't know whether you're like me or not, but I do love riding around in a nice automobile. The Lincoln sitting outside's mine. I do. Don't you all like to pull up in the stoplight in a nice automobile? Nice truck or something. You know the people are looking at you, don't you? You just feel it, don't you? Every now and then you'll cut them a little break and you go, how y'all doing? Yeah, good to see you. How the kids? Yeah, I'm a winner. You know it, and so do I. It's the truth, am I not? Major difference when you pull up that stoplight and you're in a Datsun pickup truck. and you look in that rearview mirror and you see this guy coming up in the outside lane in a Porsche that you work out with at the gym. You don't particularly like him. He don't particularly like you. He read in the newspaper what happened to you because what we do speaks louder than what we say. You see what you're doing and all your complaining and all your moaning and groaning. Your family hears it. They're so sick of it. The people around you are so sick of it. And if you're a negative person, they go, oh, here comes some negative songs again. Oh, my. Never get along with this guy or that gal. You see, when I looked in that rearview mirror and saw him coming, I immediately went down on the floorboard and started looking at some paperwork. Yes, sir. See, I love to eat, but the best meal I've ever had in my life is called humble pie. And I never forget when I moved out of that house, I borrowed a Ford van from a friend of mine's, a used car manager in a Ford dealership. And I had backed it up in the driveway, and I was loading the last piece of furniture in it. I tell this story to every audience, and my wife was sitting in the passenger seat just like this. Now, a lot of the neighbors were watching what was going on. They knew what was going on. The government comes and drives a steel sign in the front yard. They auction it. Pretty entertaining sometimes for the people in the neighborhood because misery loves company. Or some people just love to see other people suffer. It's entertainment for them. They enjoyed watching it being auctioned, but I didn't enjoy very much living in it. And a lot of them were watching us. And my wife, as I said, she was sitting there just like this. I was loading the last piece of furniture in the back, and she was sitting there just like this. What do you think was going on in her mind, anybody? What do you think she was going on in her mind? Come on, respond to me. What do you think was going on in her mind? Get me out of here, absolutely. Anybody else?
Felt defeated.
Felt defeated, absolutely. Anybody else?
Lost her pride.
Lost her pride, absolutely. Anybody else?
Where do we go from here?
Where do we go from here? Absolutely. We'll just take yours, okay? Well, in just a few minutes, we're going to walk out of this door. This will either have been a very beneficial time for you in here today, and you will open your mind and you will think and you'll be willing to change, or you won't. The question you must ask yourself is, where do you go from here? Where do you go from here? Go stay stuck in the same old rut, make the same old excuses, keep on blaming everybody but yourself, or you're going to be very conscious of your thinking and be willing to change? That's the question. That's the big question. You see, I've discovered that in life, when we admit that we're the problem, that is the most positive news that we could ever have, because then we can do something about it. You see, one of the things that's dangerous about being new is that when you're new in selling, you can be taught. Sometimes when you get around too much longer, you don't listen anymore. That's dangerous. Then your production falls about 50%, your income and your lifestyle. Did you hear what I just told you? Okay. I stuck that piece of furniture in the back. And my son was a little tiny guy, and he's playing on the stairs that ran beside the house. And I looked at him, I said, come on, we got to go. And he didn't respond. I said, come on, we got to go. And he still didn't respond. I looked at him, I said, hey, I said, come on, we got to go. And he turned around, he looked right at me. And he said, I don't want to go. That's what he said. Well, he was reading my mail, wasn't he? He knew exactly what was going on. He didn't want to leave his friends. He didn't want to leave the neighborhood. How many of you in this room have children? Raise your hands if you do, please. Please raise your hand if you have children. Could you get up more than a finger, Tony? I mean, get to the hand, Mr. Participant. You got 14 kids. Now, how many of you not claimed? We'll say this to our kids. Thanks for letting me have fun with you. You got a great smile. I see you always tell a person you can play with because you can read the smile. That guy's got a smile. I hope you're using it. We'll say to our kids, whatever you want to be the what?
Best you can be.
Be the best you can be. Don't hang around with people that what? That do what? Don't hang around people that do what?
Drag you down.
Say it again.
Drag you down.
Drag you down. Don't hang around people that do what? What else?
Get you in trouble.
Get you in trouble. Don't hang around people that do what else?
Right.
Huh?
Right.
Gripe. Don't hang around people that do what else? Complain. Don't hang around people that do what else? Drugs. Criticize. Don't hang around with other people that won't work, lazy. Don't hang around with other people that drink and drive, right? I'm petrified of my son getting in the car with somebody being drunk and driving it. Aren't you all? Scared me to death. We do say those things to our kids. Let's just all hear this. If we'll say that to our kids, then let's say it to ourselves. You see, that kid knew what was going on with me. He heard all of my chicken noodle soup excuses and my blaming and my complaining and my arguments and my fight with my wife. All those fights, he heard it all. I like what Charles Barkley of the Phoenix Sun says. I am not your kid's role model. You are. And I like that. And I was doing a pitiful job. I challenge you all tonight not to go home and tell your family how bad it is. Tell them how good it's going to be. Put some hope out there, because that's what they thirst for. Don't go home tonight with how bad it is. And by the way, if you don't like Clinton, that's all right. I voted for Perot. But I do like one thing that this guy with Remax Realty said. He said, I made it through Kennedy. I made it through Carter, Bush, Reagan, Ford, and I'll also make it through Clinton. Okay? So whatever. This is still America. I picked that boy up and I stuck him in a van and we drove away for about a year and a half. I hung around with the herd. The pitiful herd. I became a herdsman. I'd call my fellow herdsmen. And we'd get together and we'd have a herd party. The pity party. I'd call them, you get the chips and the dip and we'll get together. You know any people like that? We can get together and we can really talk about how bad it is. We can blame the government and we can blame this and we can blame the economy and we can blame the interest rates and we can blame the city and we can blame the weather and we can blame the recession and we can blame this. It's kind of like this guy right here that sells cars at this one dealership. Let's say he gave me his pay thing. I got it here somewhere. Yeah, he made $153,000 last year. He took off a month selling cars. He didn't get caught up in that herd. One of my new friends underneath here. One of my new friends. One at a time on the door. Yeah, new friend. Yeah, new friend. Hey, pal. I just like to be around people like that. Versus the ones that used to be like me that got 4 out for the month. You hear what I'm saying? Just has so much more to say with him. And I get together and we can all blame everybody but ourselves. One night I was sitting there talking to these guys and I listened to it. I started what? I was sitting there and all of a sudden I was hearing what was going on and I started doing what? What did I say we need to do? I started thinking and listening. Yes, sir. Oh my goodness, scared me. I got up, started riding around in my car, and then all of a sudden I drove right back around in front of that house that I had lost. And I was sitting out in front of it and all of a sudden I whipped right back into a pity party. Now, this next thing I want to say to everybody is one of the most important things I can say to everybody. We're going to be out of here in just a minute. Because I know you're buying me a new pair of boots as hard as I've worked for you today. And you know where the deals are because you told me. One-on-one pity party. Me with me. Did you hear me? Me with me. That ongoing inner conversation is the most important thing we can remember today. There's only 2 choices. Either we do or we don't. When you were the customer, you either make up your mind that they're not buyers and quit, or you don't. When you go back, you either go back with the right attitude or you don't. When you see somebody coming in the service lane, you either accept the problem, no matter how irritated they are, how mad they are. There are a lot of people that just spend $25,000. It's the most expensive thing they ever bought in their life, and they never have the chance ever again to act like they can be that mad about something that expensive. It's probably one of their very few moments of glory. This is true. And you can either handle it right or wrong. See, it's that ongoing inner conversation. Oh, you can make the decision to pay the price or not to pay the price. And I was sitting there and I was having that one-on-one pity party, putting myself down. Then I turned around and I looked at that house, and the man that had bought it, he was already living in it. I couldn't throw him out because if I did, I'd go to jail. And he had the drapes open, and I could see in it. I could see a lot of the work my wife had done in that house. And I was really feeling pitiful. And then all of a sudden I turned around and I looked at the side of the house where the steps ran up and where I picked my son up out of there and carried him out of there. The man that bought it had a boy about the same age as my boy. He was playing right on those steps where I picked up my son and carried him out of there. Nothing but the truth. And I want to tell you, it wrenched me inside. And I'll never forget it. And then the old man, he really had a real grip on me, and I had a whole Samsonite bunch of this. And then I sat there for a little bit, and I made a decision. It's one of the best decisions I ever made in my life. And many times through the week, I have to make this same decision, some days more than others, and I never would speak to a group without telling you this. I made the decision to save myself from myself.